And we're back. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I'm your host, BKP. I'm here with George McClellan. George, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, all. It's a beautiful day out there.
Beautiful day. Good morning, all. Hey, folks, real quick here, FetchYourNews.com. Start checking out. Go to FetchYourNews.com, clicking on Dawson County, White County, and Lumpkin County. Bill Johnson and Savannah Enrick, they are really working that area, reporting a lot of stuff over there. Check it out. Savannah and Bill are doing a great job. That's Dawson County, White County, and Lumpkin County, FetchYourNews.com. So go check that out. A lot happening over that way. Now, George, last night they had the Commander-in-Chief. They had the Commander-in-Chief
It wasn't
forum.
a debate, but it was a forum.
No, it was a forum.
A forum.
And
I'll go with
I thought they gave Hillary Clinton a chance to explain. I don't like it, but we had one question that came from Lieutenant. Was it Lieutenant? Lonnie's supposed to remember all this for me. Lieutenant John Lester. That Hillary just really, to me, disrespected this guy. Let me go here. The Huffington Post, let me explain this. The Huffington Post front says Lauer cowers, okay? Now let me explain what the Huffington Post is trying to tell you. Lauer cowers. What happened last night, George, and I wish you'd had an opportunity to watch that. What happened last night was Matt Lauer tried. We have seen what's going to happen in the debate because Matt Lauer made an attempt to do a Candy Crowley move on Donald Trump, and it did not work. Donald did not accept when basically Matt Lauer said, oh, now come on. He tried to correct. Okay. Now, with Hillary Clinton, Matt Lauer did a couple small follow-ups, but you could tell they were all set up. Okay. You could tell the whole thing was set up, okay? But with Trump, he tried to do a Candy Crowley and make a correction on Trump. And Trump didn't accept it.
He didn't bite into it.
Didn't bite into it. And that's why they're writing Lauer cowers, lets Trump get away with an Iraq lie, failed the moderator test, horrifying and shocking failure. Trump's nutty suggests he'd fire generals. Now, let me ask you this now, George. You, military, when you get, I have heard this, and I'm always cautious, so let's talk about the military. Trump said last night he would can some...
generals.
Yes.
And bring his own generals in.
And he said last night that the generals, he said that several of the generals were, and I want to get his words, he would dump several generals, and they're going after saying he bashed generals. But I have been told, and I'm going to say outside looking in the military with all due respect, when you start getting to the admiral ranks and the general ranks,
Those are flag ranks.
those are a lot of political correctness, a lot of political posturing goes into place, several of these positions up in that highest rank there's some political posturing involved and political correctness that takes place.
You have two things going. You have politics within the Navy, politics within the Army. That's, who can pass on somebody's OR, the officer report, that will get them advanced or stop their career. That's one of the political things and it has been going on since cavalry days.
I do agree with
Okay,
that. But
then those top people have the politics of the government. They have a pledge to defend the Constitution of the United States. Nothing in the pledge says that they are pledged to support corruption or illegal activity. That's the point where I take exception. I think that is the point that Trump is trying to explore inartfully. That's where he's going. Where do these people, soon as a general officer does something that he thinks needs to be done because he's the general officer or an admiral or captain of an aircraft carrier, Trump Obama fires him. He calls him off immediately.
Obama
and fires
has
him.
diminished.
There should have been
He
a
has
coup,
diminished the military.
and he's put in his lackeys, and that is where Trump was going.
All right, those are your words. I'm going to support those, but those are your words. His lackeys.
And that's the politics of those
Well,
high
I know you have a
echelons.
son in the military, right?
He's retired.
Retired,
And he
but
retired before he got fired.
Obama put in his lackeys. And basically what Trump is saying is anybody that has basically survived Obama means they were lackeys. They're gone.
They will be gone.
They'll be gone.
Yeah.
The military will
They're
be
not
back.
needed.
They'll
They're
be
not needed.
Huh?
He needs combat soldiers in there. He needs people in there that have experience in the field. He might even call, I wouldn't be surprised if he called back McChrystal, Flynn, some of those guys, just to get that ball rolling.
I don't know this. I'm going to defer to you. Last night, and let's see, put the video up, Lonnie, and let's try to scroll through there a little bit. Put the video of last night up. Trump, go to the Trump part. Go. I'll tell you where to stop. Keep going. We're trying something new here, George, for the first time.
Well,
this morning.
I'm all for it.
All right. Scan over there. You're going to hear a little feedback, but scan over there where Trump. Start right there. Let's see where
Disaster.
we're at.
People talk about you and Commander-in-Chief, and not just Secretary Clinton, but some of your Republican opponents in the primary season, and they wonder about your temperament. And they say, does Donald Trump have the temperament to be Commander-in-Chief? You said something recently that I found interesting. You admitted that sometimes in the heat of a debate or when you're talking about a lot of issues, you say things that you later regret. So can we afford that with a Commander-in-Chief, to have a Commander-in-Chief who says things that he later regrets?
Well, when you say regret, yeah, sure, I regret. But in the meantime, I beat 16 people, and here I am. So, to a certain extent, there is a regret. I would have liked to have done it in a nicer manner.
He beat 16
but I had
people,
16 very talented people that I had to go through, and that was a lot of people.
But
That
when
was
you
a-
say
that was a
inflammatory-
record, Matt. That was a record in the history of Republican politics. I was able to get more votes than anybody
I think you're
ever
getting
has
ready to come
gotten
up with-
in
stay
the
with this,
history of
Lonnie.
Republican
But when you
politics,
say
and more
inflammatory
states.
things in a presidential campaign, it's different than saying them.
Stop. Back up just a couple seconds. All right.
Things in a presidential.
All right, stop right there. I want to know who that guy is in a red tie. I got to figure that out later today. You're not going to see that from here, but I got to figure out who that guy was in the red tie. Go ahead, Lonnie.
Campaign, it's different than saying them when you're Commander-in-Chief. If you say things
I
you
agree with
regret
that.
when you're Commander-in-Chief,
Like Harry
you can
Reid.
spark a conflict, you can destabilize a region, you can put American lives at risk. Can we afford to take that risk with you?
Well, I think absolutely. I think if you saw what happened in Mexico the other day, where I went there, I had great relationships,
Move
everything
up
else.
just
I
a little
let them
bit,
know
Lonnie.
where the United
And
States
just go a
stands.
couple seconds and hit
we've
play
been
again. I'm
badly
gonna
hurt
see-
by
I don't know
Mexico, both
exactly
on the
where this
border and
is.
with
They come up the chain of command, and by the time they
and you would take various sections where they have the oil. They have, people don't know this about Iraq, but they have among the largest oil reserves
Go back
in
a
the
little
world. And
bit.
the entire, actually somewhat stable, I don't think could ever be very stable. It's a war we should have never.
Back a little
and
more.
only to have insurgent groups like ISIS spring back the moment we leave. Now, you've claimed to have a secret plan to defeat ISIS, but you're hardly the first politician to promise a quick victory and a speedy homecoming. So, assuming we do defeat ISIS, what next? What is your plan for the region to ensure that a group like them doesn't just come back?
Joe, I mean, part of the problem that we've had is we go in, we defeat somebody, and then we don't know what we're doing after that. I mean, we lose it. Like, as an example, you look at Iraq, what happened, how badly that was handled. And then when President Obama took over, likewise, it was a disaster. It was actually somewhat stable. I don't think could ever be very stable. It's a war we should have never gone into in the first place. But he came in, he said, when we go out, and he took everybody out. And really, ISIS was formed. This was a terrible decision. And frankly, we never even got a shot. And if you really look at the aftermath of Iraq, Iran is going to be taking over Iraq. They've been doing it, and it's not a pretty picture.
Iran's going to take over Iraq.
And I think you know, and because you've been watching me, I think for a long time, I've always said, shouldn't be there, but if we're going to get out, take the oil. If we would have taken the oil, you wouldn't have ISIS, because ISIS formed with the power and the wealth of that oil.
How are we going to take the oil? How
Pause
are we
right
gonna do
there.
that?
Just
Do you agree with take the oil?
Well, yes, of course.
But he's getting a lot of criticism today about how he said take the oil.
Well, that's who's making the criticism.
The media.
Yeah. So nobody believes him anymore. The media will spin any comment that Trump makes that will make him look less presidential than Hillary Clinton already looks.
But ISIS, a lot of their funding came through the sale of oil on the black market, which somehow they found a bank to launder their cash just like we did.
Well, they did, and I'll tell you something else. Nothing happens in the world of economics and banking that does not involve the Federal Reserve, the IMF, these people. They all know about it. And if they know about it, nothing was done. That means that there is high-level collusion, Obama, at American level, to allow that to continue. Obama is actually actively supporting the development of ISIS.
All right, hit play on
Caliphate.
that.
Would leave a certain group behind, and you would take various sections where they have the oil. They have, people don't know this about Iraq, but they have among the largest oil reserves in the world, in the entire world. And we're the only ones. We go in, we spend $3 trillion, we lose thousands and thousands of lives, and then, Matt, what happens is we get nothing. You know, it used to be to the victor belong the spoils. Now, there was no victor there, believe me, there was no victor. But I always said, take the oil. One of the benefits we would have had if we took the oil is ISIS would not have been able to take oil and use that oil
Let me stay on ISIS.
to fuel themselves.
Let me stay on ISIS. When we've met in the past and we've talked, you say things like, I'm going to bomb the expletive out of them very quickly. And when people like me press you for details, like that gentleman just said, on what your plan is, you very often say, I'm not going to give you the details because I want to be unpredictable.
Absolutely, the
But-
word is unpredictable.
But yesterday, you actually told us a little bit about your plan in your speech. You said this, quote, we're going to convene my top generals, and they will have 30 days to submit a plan for soundly and quickly defeating ISIS. So is the plan you've been hiding this whole time asking someone else for their plan?
No. But when I do come up with a plan that I like and that perhaps agrees with mine or maybe doesn't, I may love what the generals
watch
come
this.
back with. I will
But
convene.
you have your own plan.
I have a plan, but I want to be, I don't want to, look, I have a very substantial chance of winning. Make America great again. We're going to make America great again. I have a substantial chance of winning. If I win, I don't want to broadcast to the enemy exactly what my
But
plan
you're
is.
gonna
And let
keep-
me tell you, if I like maybe a combination of my plan and the general's plan or the general's plan, if I like their plan, Matt, I'm not going to call you up and say, Matt, we have a great plan. This is what Obama does. We're going to leave Iraq on a certain
But
date.
you're going to convene a panel of generals, and you've already said you know more about ISIS than those generals.
Well, there'd probably be different generals, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm looking at the generals. Today, you probably saw, I have a piece of paper here, I could show it. 88 generals and admirals endorsed me today.
It's a
And
numbers
these are
game. Hillary
great.
Clinton
Well, it's
claims
not
more
really.
numbers.
It's not, yeah, numbers. People that have been losing for us for a long period of time. I mean, the fact is, we have had the worst, and you could even say the dumbest foreign policy. Our results are so bad. We would have been better off had we never, ever spent $2 in that part of the world.
You recently received 2 intelligence briefings.
Yes, I did.
Did anything in that briefing, without going into specifics, shock or alarm you?
Yes.
Did
Very
you
much
learn
so.
new things
First of all,
in that
I had
briefing?
great respect for the people that gave
Stop.
us the briefing.
Now, last night, he comes on here and Matt Lauer says, you have recently had 2 intelligence briefings. Did you learn anything in those briefings that shocked you? This is what Matt Lauer's question. Guess what? That question is not posed to Hillary Clinton in the first 30 minutes. The reason that question is not posed to Hillary Clinton because
She already knows the answers.
well, they don't want to draw her any more attention to the fact of her being in a security briefing that she shouldn't be in the first
Yeah,
place,
exactly right.
based on her
Yeah.
her issues that she's having and not being able to handle
Precisely
confidence.
correct.
Now, this was set up, folks, last night. This question was set up last night to bait Donald Trump to see if he would say something that violated his security briefing agreements that he had to sign. This was set up for nothing more to see if Donald Trump would say something that they could say this morning all over the media, aha, Donald Trump violated confidential information. Donald Trump is not fit to be president because he cannot keep confident. Well, one's no better than the other. Now, what I said to this morning is, in my first half hour, is remember, the media can't do anything with where Hillary Clinton's at. She's the low of the low. All they can do now is try to bring Donald Trump down to her level.
And they're trying.
And that's what they're working on.
That's what they're
trying to
working-
bring
sure.
her down. So let's play that a little further there.
They were terrific people. They were experts on Iraq and Iran and different parts of and Russia. But yes, there was one thing that shocked me. And it just seems to me that what they said, President Obama and Hillary Clinton and John Kerry, who is another total disaster, did exactly the opposite.
Did you learn anything in that briefing, again, not going into specifics, that makes you reconsider some of the things you say you can accomplish, like defeating ISIS quickly?
No, I didn't learn anything from that standpoint. What I did learn is that our leadership, Barack Obama, did not follow what our experts and our truly, when they call it intelligence, it's there for a reason, what our experts said to do.
How?
And I was very, very surprised in almost every instance. And I could tell, I had pretty good with the body language, I could tell they were not happy. Our leaders did not follow what they were recommending.
Hallie?
I'm with former Army Captain Sue Fulton, who is a member of the first West Point class to include women.
Watch this.
She served as a Signal Corps officer in Germany.
Stop a minute. Lonnie, we're going to take a brief break. George, he got set up to see if he would break on national security issues on his briefing, his national security briefing. They wanted to see if Donald Trump would break. Donald Trump, to me, will have to be careful from here on out, because the vulnerable thing, when I say vulnerable, is Hillary Clinton, the American people, will know, do know, and will continue to find out more about how crooked she is, how she put our national security at risk, violated her oath of office, violated the judge's order. The judge said to preserve evidence, and after that point, they cleaned the server, and they were able to tell the server had been turned on and off. The American people will continue to know that about her. The only thing the media can do is say, but Donald Trump's no better. And that's all they can do right now. They cannot bolster their candidate. Okay? Mm-hmm. We're going to take a brief break. I am BKP. We're watching and analyzing. We're breaking down a little footage. It's like game day here. We're breaking down the Commander-in-Chief. Now, this is the first time we've ever done this, George, and I'm enjoying this. You like this?
It's a good forum because you hear what they're saying.
And we can stop it and break it down.
And we can talk to them. Yeah.
We're going to do that during the debate. This is the first time we've done this. We're learning something every day. We're not going to give you the plan. No, George, don't give them a plan. Like Donald Trump. We're not going to tell them the plan.
Competitors might.
That's
You've got
right.
to stay ahead of that competition.
Absolutely. I'm your host, BKP. We'll be back after these messages. I'm here with George McClellan, and you're watching Good Morning from the Office on FYN TV. We're talking about the Commander-in-Chief Forum between the presidential-looking Donald Trump and the I'm trying to do anything to stay out of prison candidate for the Democrats, Hillary Clinton. Right? Mm-hmm. There you go. Take us a break. Mm-hmm.
Right now at Pizza Hut, you can get any 2 medium pizzas for $6.99 each. Get any toppings, any crust flavor, anything you want for just $6.99 each. And sweeten the deal with a Hershey's Triple Chocolate Brownie for just $5.99. Only at Pizza Hut.
What you gonna do with all that junk? I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilbert County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
The summer sell down is on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings up to 16% off MSRP. Save over $4,100 off Malibu Limited, now just $19,500. Save $9,500 on loaded Silverado Crew Cab LT, now only $38,700. Save up to 16% off MSRP on select new Chevys in stock during the summer sell down. Going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hello, America. The first ever $5 flavor menu is here, and it's a game changer. For just $5 each, you can get a medium one-topping pizza, Wing Street Wings, a Hershey's cookie, and your other Hut favorites. A Pizza Hut pizza for just $5. It's the ultimate crowd pleaser.
How are you feeling, crowd?
Very pleased, thank you.
We do what we can here.
$5 for a Pizza Hut pizza. How can we not be pleased?
Good crowd today.
The $5 flavor menu, America's best pizza deal, only at Pizza Hut.
This to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I can say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
President?
I'm your host, BKP. Welcome back. I'm here with George McClellan, and the people have to know, the American people have to know if the potential future president is a crook. And I make a commitment this morning. Can you follow this commitment? All right, stay with me. I make a commitment this morning on this show, Good Morning from the Office, that I will do everything I can to let you know the potential president, which is the Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton, is a crook. I will do everything I can, Daylight Dark. Can you help me with that?
Oh, sure.
Can you be of any help on that?
I think so. We'll tidy it up a little bit, get the words correct so you don't muff those, and give you some nice talking points. Absolutely.
Polish it up a little?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Certainly.
So George is going to polish it up a little for me, but I'll make a commitment now. She obstructed justice. She has profited. That's Richard Nixon for all of you young folks out there. Richard Milhouse Nixon, that has had to resign in disgrace. But I would watch that over and over for when he says the American people need to know if their president's a crook. And whether we like Nixon or not, there's a lot in that 30 seconds that's very profound.
You know, he's being resurrected as a good example. And I have one other thing to say to this audience. I absolutely, right now, I call upon the director of the FBI, Jim Comey, to resign. He has brought the agency into disrepute. Agents out there that I know still, and some of them are retired, some are active, are aghast at what he has done to support this criminal in the White House. Jim Comey, it's time for you to step down and resign.
Sometimes there's nothing more to be said when it's said. Okay, let's go. George, I just have to take a break. That was very good. I appreciate that. It was very firm, direct, and right on target. And that's why I'm saying, like with Nixon, I never profited from the Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation and what they have done and the corruption and the people that keep dropping over dead next to them just from the vapors. I mean, if you get the vapor of a Clinton, you drop over. Let's hear a little more of Donald Trump before we get to George's last minute, about 10 more minutes. And then George is going to share his final thoughts. And then it's Thursday. And you know what that means. It'll be time for our good friend Oscar Poole's Inspirational Moments. And at 10 o'clock, stay with us, The Scott Farrell Show. Scott is America's behavior expert. You want to stay with that at 10 o'clock. So, go to the tape. Back to the tape, Lonnie. Lonnie's actually doing a pretty good job today. Back to the tape, Lonnie.
She's a Democrat, and she has this question for you, Mr. Trump.
Oh,
Mr.
how would
Trump.
you guess she's a
Thank you very
Democrat?
much.
Thank you. Do you believe that an undocumented person who wants to serve in the U.S. Armed Forces deserves to stay in this country legally?
I think that when you serve in the armed forces, that's a very special situation, and I could see myself working that out. Absolutely.
So she's saying has already served in the armed forces or wants to serve, plans to serve.
Plans to serve in the armed forces. As you know, that under DACA, we already have people who are undocumented
I
who are
think
serving.
Military is a very special thing. If they plan on serving, if they get in, I would absolutely hold those people. Now, we have to be very careful. We have to vet very carefully. Everybody would agree with that. But the answer is it would be a very special
All right,
circumstance.
stop right
yes.
there.
Thank
Who
you.
was shocked, number one, that she's a Democrat? Number two, listen to Donald Trump has to get the immigration question. Hillary Clinton didn't get the immigration question. Donald Trump did. And the media is going nuts this morning. And maybe some on the right, maybe on the far, far right, they're going nuts with Donald Trump's answer. Look, Donald Trump has told you over and over, he's not going to pull everybody out. You know, we're not going to cane anybody. Is that what they call it when
you smack them with a stick?
Yeah, we're not. You know, no 30 thrashes, no thrashing of the people, no caning them or whipping them or no tying them up. That's the picture that the media has made of Donald Trump all along. But, you know, he says we're not exactly going to do that. We're going to be, you know, we're going to be humane. And they're shocked. Play some more there, Lonnie. Let me see. I got one more I wanted to get to.
Thank you very much for your question. Hallie, you have another one?
I do. Alex Rudkowski was an Army Staff Sergeant assigned to Special Operations. He was stationed at Fort Bragg and was deployed to Afghanistan and to other places across the Middle East. He has not decided who he will vote for yet in November. And you have a question for Mr. Trump.
I do. Mr. Trump, as you know, tensions between the United States and Russia have been at the highest level since the Cold War. In your first 120 days of presidency, how would you de-escalate the tensions? And more importantly, what steps would you take to bring Mr. Putin and the Russian government back to the negotiating table?
I think I would have a very good relationship with many foreign leaders. I think it's very sad when you look at Barack Obama, as an example, lands Air Force One in China, and they don't want to put out stairs to get off the plane. And he has to use the stairs that mechanics use to get up and down to fix the plane. They wouldn't give him stairs. I think it's very sad when he lands in Saudi Arabia and he lands in Cuba and there aren't high officials to even greet him. This is the first time in the storied history of Air Force One. I think I would have a very, very good relationship with Putin, and I think I would have a very, very good relationship with Russia. As I said,
go ahead,
take a look today.
Okay, George, am I wrong here? Is not the State Department part of their responsibility is to lay the groundwork for the foreign relations out in front of our president?
It is, and they assumed that all that stuff was done as far as China was concerned.
Right.
And the Chinese deliberately disrespected the President of the United States. That was done on purpose, absolutely, as I read in my short take the other day.
But everything...
They do not make mistakes.
Everything on the foreign level...
All answers, is
supposed to be laid out
all the answers
by the State Department.
Have already been decided.
So if Obama can't even go anywhere and get steps to the plane.
Off the plane?
I seen two little Chinamen down below yelling jump.
Well, he went out the servants'
Maybe that
entrance.
was me.
That's
Yeah, he had to go out the back.
The servants' entrance, stand on the hot tarmac, 1 foot at a time, embarrassed and befuddled.
But that's a State Department failure. Everything he's talking about is
I wouldn't say it was the State Department failure. The State Department figured or assumed when that airplane came up, like all the other 19 G20 participants, when that airplane came up, that they just assumed that runway would be pushed there. The president would get off with adulation, cheers, and glory, and walk down the red carpet to shake hands with the Chinese president. And the Chinese said, "This guy's not worth it. He can go out the servants' entrance." And that's what he did. And that's why America is in world humiliation right now. And this buffoon of a president ignores that. But it does not meet his agenda anyway. He does not care.
Go a little further there, Lonnie. I got 2 more minutes. I want to say
Take a look at what happened with their fighter jets circling one of our aircraft in a very dangerous manner. Somebody said less than 10 feet away. This is hostility. And I saw just 2 or 3 days ago, they looked like they were not exactly getting along. But I looked at President Obama and Putin staring at each other. These were not two people that were getting along. And you know the beautiful part of getting along? Russia wants to defeat ISIS as badly as we do. If we had a relationship with Russia, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could work on it together and knock the hell out of ISIS? Wouldn't that be a wonderful
Let me ask
thing?
you about some of the things you've said about Vladimir Putin. You said, I will tell you, in terms of leadership, he's getting an A. Our president is not doing so well. And when referring to a comment that Putin made about you, I think he called you a brilliant leader.
They're giving him a hard time on the liberal media is giving him a hard time this morning over his comments on Vladimir Putin and his calling him a leader. George, now, is it me or is it because I'm white and uneducated? I'm in there. Is it because I'm not educated with the elite status that some people are, that I understand that a leader may not lead people in the right direction, but yet they are a leader. Whether you like it or not, and people may cringe at the thought, Hitler was a leader.
Well, you lead by vote.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. You lead by vote or you lead by example. Those are the only two. That's where a leader comes up.
Putin may not be leading.
But he's pro-Russia. And that's what the Russians want. He's pro-Russia.
That's what I think we're missing is he's leading Russia in the direction they want to go.
That's right. And Obama's leading
according to
America
the
in the
people
opposite
there,
direction. Obama's not an American. He has no idea what America's about. He might be American born, and as the Philippine president so inartfully described it, he's the son of a whore.
George,
these
okay,
things are,
all right.
These things are out there, and they cannot be ignored. They're in the press. I'm not saying anything new.
Well, I understand. I agree. At this time, that reminds me, we always like to give George an opportunity to share his final thoughts. You can find George's short takes on the opinion section of FetcherNews.com. Go to the news section, go to FetcherNews.com, go to any county up there, click on it. When you get to the news, it'll drop down, click on opinion, find George's short takes. If you would like to write an opinion piece and send it in to us, whether it be about your local county, anywhere in your community, state or national, send that to us at chief@FetcherNews.com, and we'll get your opinion on FetcherNews.com. George, what do you have for us today?
Well, you brought up, you mentioned the blacks the other day, just a few minutes ago, and we have this rising problem in our inner cities, and I've started a series of essays to explore as tactfully as I can what is the black problem. Tactfully, but honestly, and this is what is the black problem with white society. that they don't want to be part of it. Generally, as Americans, we grew up, I grew up feeling safe, knowing that our neighbors respected the same laws that I did and obeyed the same laws that we did. In fact, it was so ingrained that we rarely gave it a second thought, that feeling that we lived in a safe country. For most of us, it used to be that our first and only contact with authority was when a traffic cop stopped us and we got our first ticket. Now that encounter, good or bad, firmly set in our minds a lasting opinion of what the police is or are or what they can do. The police know it. And they try to meet the confrontation politely to spread the message of compliance to the laws, even with the little ones like traffic laws. Well, today, all that's been swept away. It is now almost expected that a pushback should occur, especially if you're a black driver. The officer is now screamed at, personally maligned, even assaulted. Whites don't do this. Blacks are doing it more and more, and they are feeling enfranchised to resist racism, as they call it, because the U.S. Attorney General, 2 of them, and the President of the United States has made it easy and okay. Police pushback is met with violent resistance, often ending in gunfire, the loser being the black thugs who thought they had an obligation to their community to resist, quote, Whitey, even if Whitey is a black police officer. Let the rioting begin. Businesses in black-occupied urban areas are then robbed, looted, burned. Cars are smashed. Rioters openly assault the police, considering them enemies of the people. The local media quickly descends on the scenes of carnage to fan the flames of racial discord. The national media picks up the thread to spin it into their anti-American narrative to protect and preserve failed liberal policies. Stories of urban collapse are coming to us at rapidly increasing intervals. Rioting on the slightest pretext is characteristic of a people who have lost faith in their democratic government. They arise on any provocation, and the police get the blame, being the visible face of that government. In Milwaukee recently, black mobs believed that another innocent black man had been shot in the back by a local policeman. Videos show that he wasn't an innocent black man, but was actually a thug with a criminal record raising a pistol toward a black policeman. The story died right then and there, and so did the rioting. The black mob, by demand, was immediately ready to riot and kill, blame white society, and destroy their own neighborhoods to make a point. The imposed dream of a multicultural society isn't working. The purposeful hunting down and beating of white people on the streets, the rabid screaming calling for more attacks on white policemen, has now become part of the recorded history of a nation's collapse. Naturally, the media scrubs out what doesn't support the multicultural narrative that liberalism demands. The MSN, the mainstream media, denies we are experiencing a racial insurgency, claiming that out-of-control law enforcement is the problem, as evidenced by the disproportionate arrests of blacks for crimes and the daily indiscriminate shooting of blacks by police. Blacks are unmistakably gripped by a powerful racial hatred of white people, all fanned by the likes of Obama, the attorney generals, and the Al Sharptons. And this is no accident. It has long been in the progressive plan as outlined by Karl Marx. In Milwaukee, until the truth came out, the screaming black mobs immediately attacked whites. A black woman screamed that blacks should burn the suburbs of whites. This was on the video, first put out by CNN News, and it was quickly cut out. If you don't admit that you have cancer when you're told, will it go away? I don't think so. We're now entering the final stage of the Saul Alinsky plan, implemented by the Cloward-Pevens scheme to bring America to heel. You better get ready out there. Remember, freedom is our goal. The Constitution is the way. Now go get them. Thank you.
Thank you, George. I appreciate that. You know, folks, we have in just a couple minutes here, we'll have inspirational moments by our good friend,
Oscar Poole.
Our good friend Oscar Poole.
I thought you
thank
forgot
you very
that
much.
for a minute.
No, I always pause my mic so I don't say anything that would interrupt your final thoughts. So I pause my mic and sometimes I forget to turn it back on. But I'm back. Inspirational Moments by Oscar Poole, and then stay tuned at 10 o'clock for the Scott Farrell Show, America's Behavior Expert. You know, a couple things. I'm glad you stayed with us. We're always trying something new here on FYNTV.com, and you know, we hope you've enjoyed it, but we do know now the way we can play some videos, break down the videos, analyze them, and discuss those with you out there. We'll continue to do more of that here, and we appreciate you bearing with us as we're trying to work through things to bring more information to you, accurate information. So let me just leave with saying this morning a couple things. I've told you they have to bring Donald Trump down to Hillary Clinton's level. Now, they will claim bankruptcy. They will claim that he did not Trump University. They'll make all these claims. But let me tell you what they can't bring Donald Trump down to Hillary's level. And that's being a criminal, a crook, and somebody that's worthy of prosecution. See, there's nothing they can bring up in the media with Donald Trump that says there should be a special prosecutor appointed. You don't hear that. You hear negative things about some of his financial business dealings. You hear negative things about anything they can find. But you don't hear them say a special prosecutor should be appointed. You don't hear people asking for the FBI director to step down because of something Donald Trump has done, said, or conveyed to the American people. Okay? You don't hear that. You do with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is crooked. That's all there is to it. She's a criminal. She should be prosecuted for obstruction of justice, along with a whole list that we don't have time for. The indictment sheet should be so long with her and all of her friends. Okay? They should be making Nixon look like a Boy Scout when they're done. That he should be looking like the greatest president ever lived by the time they got done with Hillary Clinton, if they used the same standards they did with Richard Nixon. We played that with you all day. So we told you we watched Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon said it's important that the American people know if their president is a crook. Well, I think it's important that the American people know that the Democrat nominee for president, Hillary Clinton, is a crook. And we will work on that every day here. Folks, I have some meetings this afternoon. I want to welcome Savannah Enrick and Bill Johnson over there in Dawson, Lumpkin, and White County. Click on FetcherNews.com over there and check it out. They've got a lot going on. I got a meeting. We got some more people coming on staff here. Great things going on. We got more programming. Don't forget, Friday night, follow us. Friday Night Football, we'll tell you more about it on Twitter. But tomorrow we'll be at the Shops at Sycamore Crossing, downtown Blue Ridge right there. Shops at Sycamore Crossing. We'll talk more about this Commander-in-Chief. We have our forum. We have our Pet of the Week. The Pet of the Week, always, that's the star of the show every Friday, isn't it, Lonnie? The Pet of the Week is our star of the show. And then we have, you're welcome to come by. We have plenty of room on the couch there. We got plenty of room. We always get 2 or 3 people together. We can get 5 or 6. Come on by and let's talk politics. Something.
Sounds good. You know what's wrong with society? We've stopped drinking wine out of the skulls of our enemies.
I know you did just say that. I know you did just. Folks, stay tuned for inspirational thoughts. Not by George. George's final thoughts. Oscar Poole, inspirational thoughts. With our good friend Colonel Oscar Poole, and America's behavior expert, Scott Farrell.